Hi there and welcome to Hyundai Power Products. My name is Adrian and today we're going to look at this HY7524 air compressor. Now this is an oil-free, maintenance-free, low-noise air compressor and you will be astonished at how quiet it actually is when we come to run it a little later. So I'm going to open the box, lay the contents on the table, show you exactly what you get and then we'll go through the basic assembly of it. So as you can see, I've got the main compressor unit here on the table. It has its power lead with a 13 amp plug. Now this unit will run easily off a 13 amp plug. We have the air filter here, we'll need to fit that. Two wheels. We have two axles for the wheels, two rubber feet and bolts, and two of the airline fittings specific to the pump outlets on this pump. So if you have your standard airline, you can simply put it on here with a suitable clip and these fittings will fit into the compressor. Okay, so we have the user manual here as well. Now I do recommend strongly that you read the user manual thoroughly before use. So we'll move forward now to the assembly. So first thing I'm going to do to make it easy for myself, I'm going to tip it up on this end. If you have a piece of carpet or something soft to let it sit on this end without scratching the paint, that would be great. I've got a nice smooth metal table here, so I'm just going to tip the machine carefully up onto its end. And once you rest it on that handle there, it is fairly well supported. Obviously I'm not rocking it all the way over, but it is fairly well supported. Okay, so you'll see we have two of these bolts and two of these rubber feet. I'm going to take the nut off, take one washer off and leave one washer on there, and then in the recess I'm going to push one of the bolts up into the recess so the thread sticks out, and I'm going to place it in the hole on the frame, put the washer on the thread that's sticking out, and then do up the nut on the inside. Exactly the same with the other one. Washer on, plenty of room to get your hands in, and I've got quite fat hands, shall we say. There we are, and that's that nut, just finger tight in there. So now is I'm going to take a 14mm spanner, just hold the nut on the inside, and I also have a 14mm socket on the outside. I'm just going to nip those up, a couple of turns. No need to go daft with these. The compressor on the rubber will hold them in place. I'll just do the second one. So simple tools, spanner and a socket. Socket isn't strictly necessary, however it's a little bit awkward to get the spanner on the inside to tighten, but you can tighten it up that way just by doing up the nut. So you're going to put the wheels on now. So we've got these little axle assemblies and obviously the wheels. So the wheels have got a smooth face on this side and you can see the holes on this side. This part is going to go against the frame of the compressor. So I'm just going to turn that over. I'm going to remove all of these washers, spring washers and spacer off this bolt. I'm going to put that bolt in from the outside here against the smooth face. So that's step one. Okay, holding the bolt in place, I'm then going to fit the spacer, that's the larger spacer as opposed to a washer, then one washer on there. And then in much the same style as you saw me do with the rubber feet, I'm going to fit it in through the hole and fit the remaining parts. So what's remaining this time is a washer, a spring washer and a nut. And the order in which they go on the inside will be washer, spring washer, then nut. So I'll just do that. So washer on, spring washer on, and finally that's that wheel loosely in place. So with the two rubber feet fitted, both the wheels on but not tightened up, I'm just going to put it back down as it's going to be in use on its feet and wheels. And at this point I've just got a 17mm socket. Two 17mm spanners would be fine. I'm just going to hold that there, put my spanner on the inside just to hold the nut, and exactly the same again, hold on to the nut on the inside with a spanner, do up the axle. So the final unit of the assembly is this air filter here. Now it's important that you fit this. So you'll see a sticker here, intake, and a hole corresponding right here. So this air filter screws in. Now unless you have a very thin spanner, you won't be able to actually tighten this down with a spanner. However, if you just screw the unit into the hole, spin it down until it bottoms out, and then holding the back part, tighten it up with a good grip by hand. That will be tight enough for use. So just a little point about this air filter. You'll see the little hole at the top here. This is the small orifice where air comes into the unit. If you take this outer cover and rotate it anti-clockwise, you'll find it'll click across and it can be removed. And this gives you access to the air filter. Now, it is important with these machines to keep this air filter clean. If you're spraying paint or in a particularly dusty environment and this becomes clogged, the machine will have to work far harder, and there is a good chance that it will overheat if the air filter is blocked, because it's working a lot harder to get the air in. So make sure that your air filter is clean at all times, and these are available from our parts department. So with that said, I'll put the air filter back on. Now, ideally, you want this inlet tube, as you can see, it passes through from that hole there. You want that somewhere near the bottom. You wouldn't really want it on the top. For instance, if you had fluid or something like that got spilled, there's a greater likelihood that it'll get down in through that hole if it's on the top than if it was on the bottom. So now that we've screwed the air filter in, we just need to find a position. That would do me. So my filter's on the bottom. I'll rotate it clockwise this time to lock it in position, and my inlet is under here. So I've just flipped the machine back up just so that you can see this drain point here. Okay, so this is the water drain point for the tank. Occasionally, when there's no air left in the machine, you will get an accumulation of water in the compressor tank. And you need to check this fairly regularly. We don't want water building up inside the tank. It can happen more in humid conditions or in wet environments, but the very nature of compressing air will generate water droplets, which will accumulate in the tank. That will reduce the room you have for air, and it will also build up water in the tank, which we don't want. So what you've got is this main outer nut. We're not going to touch that, but the inner little knurled wheel here, if we turn that anti-clockwise, like that, just a half a turn. Now don't do this with air in the tank, let the air drain completely first. But just open that drain tap, perhaps once a week, depends how often you're using it, and water will drain out through there, any water in the tank. And you can put a suitable container underneath to catch it with. Once you've finished, finger tight, tighten it back up clockwise. And obviously, let me just show, we would do this when it's in its normal position, so that the water is at the bottom of the tank, level with the drain cock. And obviously I can just put my hand underneath and tighten it back up again. Don't drain this off, as I said earlier, when there's air in the tank. We have here a separate water separator. So if any water moisture does come out of the main air line, it will accumulate in this bowl here, and you'll see the water filling up. Now this is a semi-automatic system, and as you can see at the moment, if I pull down this little valve, it's in the up position. There's no compressed air in here. When this is in the up position, water can just drain out of this little outlet here. Once the compressor starts and pressure starts to build up, it will blow this valve down and seal it off. So when you've initially started up, you will hear an air leak out through here. As the pressure increases slightly, this will shut because of the pressure inside the little drain canister here. It will shut, air will stop coming out, and then it's ready for use. So in its normal condition, it's open, so any water that accumulates in here during use, when you switch it off and you drain the tank, or pressure drops, the water will come back out automatically. So this is the point where I could plug it into my 13 amp outlet. Obviously we've got a plug protector here. So if I was to plug this in, we need to make sure that it's switched off, and that's this little red button here on the top in the down position, so it's switched off. So at this point, I'm just going to go over to the mains, plug this in, and then I'll go through some basic operations for you. So I'm plugged into the mains now and switched on. When I started up, when I first heard one of these start up, I was amazed at how quiet it is in comparison to your standard piston type. So I'm going to switch it on. I'll see if you'll certainly be able to hear me over the top of it. I'll switch it on, I'll continue talking, and then I'll show you the on-off method. So always switch it on using this button, not using the wall plug, and always switch it off using this button. So I'll just switch it on. You can hear the air coming out of there for a second, and now it's stopped. And I'm talking at the same volume and it is exceptionally quiet, as you can hear. So to switch it off, push down on there, that's it. That's the on-off system. Always use this button when switching on and off. So this machine does have an automatic cut-off, so that when the pressure reaches its maximum, little regulator here will switch off the air supply. So when pressure is at the preset limit in the tank, this little sensor here will send a signal to this box, which has the electrics in it, switch off the power to the motor, and the motor will stop, thus saving you valuable electricity. As you use the air in the tank and the pressure drops, it will automatically cut back in again. So that's how it's automatic, and it will keep it at the desired level. Okay, so 2 pressure gauges. This gauge reads the tank pressure, the air in the tank itself. And this gauge reads the outlet pressure, so you can pre-select a lower pressure than the maximum if you want using this knob. So this unit is designed to run at 7 bar, so typically when the tank is full, you're not using any air, it would come round here, the needle, to this number 7, halfway between 6 and 8 as you'd expect. Okay, so that would be the maximum pressure within the tank. Now, quite often in small applications, airbrushes, things like that, let me just peel that back, you wouldn't want to use that great high pressure. So you can drop back your working pressure, or the outlet pressure, with this knob on the top here. So as you saw, the needle approached above 6, got to 7 bar, and the motor cut out. Okay, now I can hear a hissing noise. That's my drain tap underneath. It's just not quite tight enough. Just tighten it up with my fingers, and now I've ensured we've got no air leaks. So I've just got this airline and gun here. Actually, let me just mention, if you bought your compressor, we do actually do these 5-piece air compressor kits. Now it does come with the airline, the oiler, tyre inflator, the standard air gun, and it does come with a large spray gun, which is probably going to be way too big for a small compressor like this, but it does come with that as well. So to plug in the fittings, hold it tightly, quick push, you'll see the collar snap back forward, and now, let me just show, okay, and to remove, pull back the outer sleeve, it just pops out. So, there we go, back in again. So I have used a little bit of air, but both needles are pointing dead up. So the pressure on this outlet is the full pressure of the tank. You can reduce the outlet pressure and it doesn't affect what's in the tank. You'll see on this regulator here, if you lift the outer top part up, I'll do that again, lift it up and unscrew it anti-clockwise. I'll let a bit of air go. Now you can see the needle dropping. So for instance, let's drop to 3 bar. Okay, so as you can see, the tank pressure is still 6 bar, but the outlet pressure is now far less. And I can adjust that on the fly to get exactly what I want. At around 5 bar, the air kicked back in and is now topping the tank back up again. So I've got the unit fully charged now. If I wanted to use it as a portable appliance, I could unplug it, basically take it to a vehicle, to inflate a car tyre, something like that, so it's transportable easily on its wheels. And then obviously I would use a tyre inflator, not an air gun. I could plug in and use it to inflate my tyre. There's more than enough air in this tank and pressure to inflate most vehicle tyres, unless you're talking about a large vehicle, you know, a 5-ton vehicle, something like that. But there should be more than enough air to inflate a vehicle tyre in this tank. Without the power, it won't kick back in and recharge. Once we've emptied it, we can just plug it back in and recharge it. But you can leave the unit fully charged with air so that it's always there when you need it. I check it every month or so just to make sure that it's up to pressure, but the gauge will tell you that. So yeah, it's not only a great little workshop machine, it's a very quiet machine, but it's also very portable as well. Well, there we are. That's the HY7524 oil-free compressor from Hyundai. So I do hope you found this demonstration useful. And for more information on this or any of our other products, visit www.hyundaipowerproducts.co.uk. I've been Adrian, and thank you for watching.